can't wait for Star Wars Rebels Season 4. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. And I've heard that we actually have a father-son duo here who drove 5 hours just for this panel. Are you guys here?
Yes.
Oh, you're right there. So you guys seem about as excited as Zeb is to eat a Maluran. Can you give me a Maluran? Awesome. All right, so right now I'm about to bring out, without any further ado, the creative mastermind of Star Wars Rebels and 2 of the incredible voice talents for the show. Please welcome Dave Filoni, Vanessa. So awesome to connect with you. The final season of the show.
First, I have to say that since we're in Toronto, I have to just thank all the Maple Leaf fans for giving Phil Kessel a hard time trading into Pittsburgh because he won the Stanley Cup twice with his help. So thanks, guys. Pittsburgh, you gotta give me a break.
Well, Dave, yeah, that was a little bit of antagonism toward the audience.
They love it, they love hockey, they know what
it is. They love it.
I play goal, they can shoot pucks with me later.
They were saying move around, not moving, right? I'm sure. All right, well, Dave, just to start with you, you are like such a master of the tease. I mean, these past few months.
Dave, master of the tease.
Just like hashtag tease, seriously. Going back to the Celebration Orlando convention earlier this year, when you wore a t-shirt that said Ahsoka lives with a question mark.
And a good question. It's a reasonable question.
And then by the end of that panel, you changed it to Ahsoka lives with an exclamation
But
point.
that's like a psychological phenomenon. That's like you're projecting that somehow on my shirt. I don't know why does your t-shirt change shape? I mean, maybe it's like a hot and cold thing transfer. I don't know. And that's bizarre. A lot of people ask that, but I think it's psychological, you know, more than it's an actual.
We just imagined that.
Probably not.
Just, you know, but even beyond that, on Twitter, you've been giving us some pieces about Ahsoka, and we just had these amazing sketches from Topps trading cards of Ahsoka, different images, you know, that kind of were a little teasy. What can you tell us about those?
Well, yeah, it's just getting ideas out there, you know, there's kind of realizing that some of this is the final season, and there were some ideas that I had that were never going to actually make it into an episode. So while I have to work certain things out for the bigger story, so it's, you know, considered, well, did Ahsoka ever meet Ben? Because she goes to Attilan, and she's very intuitive, and she probably have an inkling that something is there, or something can have an idea that she's there. And so then I just like to kind of play out, well, what would that scene be like? And I do a lot of that on my commute to work every day. I work out these scenes in my head, and I thought, well, I bet people would like to know that stuff. And I thought of her, and I loved Tom Baker as Ben. I thought he was fantastic, and I just wanted to work in his voice again. So I wrote a couple lines, and I thought, I always put them on the crew. So I'll be in an editorial, like, what if Ben says this, and starts with this, and this, and the crew's like, really, did that happen? I'm like, yeah, maybe. They love this show too, so I'm just getting ideas out there, and I always thought that Kanan and Ahsoka had a much bigger history than I was able to get into on the actual show. You only have so much time that you can dedicate to anything, and so I absolutely knew that they knew each other when they were really young. She was kind of famous because she became the Padawan of Anakin Skywalker. So a lot of the other younglings were like, really, her? Why her? You know, and she's gifted, but they didn't, you know, the other kids just naturally be like, what's going on there? And so there were a couple things about their relationship and going back. I think they didn't know each other really well, but they knew each other in the temple at that time, so I thought that was kind of fun to know as well.
Very interesting. And I'm intrigued by the art up here. We've got, of course, the wolf, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But first, I'm curious, what is this owl that's up there? You have a special name for this? And like that's actually shown up in a few episodes so far, right?
Yeah, it's a bird, an owl. A bird, and many different types. You know, they're also featured in Harry Potter, things like that. They deliver messages, you know, in Harry Potter, so they're named Convories because my wife's last name is Convery, and so she loves owls, and so I started with this iconography it started with the Mandalorian helmet of Bo-Katan is actually the silhouette of a barn owl's face, and I drew that on Southwest Airlines napkin one day, and I thought that was like a cool helmet, but it's got the eyes of the barn owl kind of squinting, and the nose divided, the nose is the beak, and then she has a group called the Night Owls. It's a bunch of Mandalorians, so that was all for Annie because she loves that. I thought I'll put that stuff in there, and that would be cool. And then it just, you know, this bird started showing up, you know, doing its bird thing and flies. That's creepy, and next thing you know, everybody thinks it's something. It's kind of neat, so mostly it probably is something. Probably is bird, but, you know, it's so much better to see it in an episode. What happens, or what, you know, I tell the story on screen. So I tell you now, but it didn't have all beautiful animation. It would be really sad.
Well, I know I'm just dying to find out whatever happened with Ahsoka. We had that little strange image at the end of the season 2 finale that you can interpret really any way. Is she alive? Is she a Force ghost? Did we just imagine that she was there? I mean, so I'm just curious. I mean, are your teases kind of leading somewhere, do you think? Or will your intention be another tease?
I would say most of the time it's going somewhere. It would be really mean not to. I think about it all the time and mean things to do just because it's funny. And that's my sense of humor. Like I drew a wolf and I put Ahsoka's face markings on it. Just a big face of a wolf, and I was gonna tweet just kidding. Because then I was like, I don't know if people interpret that as I'm just kidding, she's not the wolf, or that they'll go, oh no, he said it, she wasn't the wolf, and now he's saying just kidding. So he's taking back, she is the wolf. This is amazing. So, because the crew will come up to me and say, do you see what they're saying on Twitter right now? And then they'll say, I'm like, really? Wow. I wonder where they're getting that. But that's a cool idea. And they're like, you didn't need to do that? I'm like, oh, but it works. You know. So the fans did a great story with it, so we'll see. It all kind of works out in the end, I think. It better this year, because otherwise we're in trouble.
Now or never. All right, so Vanessa, I think all fallen in love with her these past few years. She is such a complex, warm, multi-dimensional character, and we had a little tease in Rogue One about what might be in her future. You guys heard over the PA system at the Rebel base, you know, like paging General Syndulla. Vanessa, what can you tease about Hera in season 4?
Well, I think the only person who can tease is Dave Filoni. I can't tease much there, but I would say that it was an honor to be mentioned in the film. And it bodes well for her continuing to survive. And scare her. That's a little backstory that I created in my own mind. But anyway, it's a good sign.
Awesome. Yeah, no, she's not waiting around for it. She's just gonna get scared. That's really cool. I love
And
that.
I think one of the things you know is that Chopper survives. Let's hear it for that.
Wow, and Taylor, it's just so amazing to see how Ezra.
Oh yeah, scars, the tally keeps going, his hair's cut now. He's got a new lightsaber. Real makeover.
Seriously, I mean, you think that we met this character just as a street urchin, you know, living in this little tower on Lothal, you know, an urchin, and then here he's now like on his way to becoming a Jedi, and you know, he's experienced some darkness along the way. What do you think is? What can you tell us about what's in store for Ezra in season 4?
You can't say too much, obviously, but it has been a fun journey from, like you said, he is this street rat at the beginning of the show, and he didn't know anything really. He'd never been off of Lothal, and now after 3 seasons of kind of traversing the galaxy with this crew, I think he has like a newfound responsibility as well, and we see him take on bigger tasks with the crew, and he has more of a leadership role as well, but he still is just trying to figure every day out as he goes, as we all are. And the 4th season is so big, and the obstacles that are in front of them are the biggest to date, obviously, and the way they deal with it is going to be really interesting, and Ezra grows a ton in season 4 as well.
Wow. So anyway, you know, over the years, I've interviewed Dave so many times, like going way back to the Clone Wars days. Hey, that show is so awesome, and I'm thinking back to like circa like 2011 when I'm on the phone interviewing Dave, and I'm actually, as I often do, I'm like sort of pitching an idea, like, Dave, you gotta have an episode set on Mon Calamari, like completely underwater. And of course, Dave knows that's going to be like season 4 premiere of Clone Wars, and he doesn't tell me because he's the ultimate secret keeper. But he's like, you know, kind of losing it, I imagine, on the other end of the line, just knowing that's, you know, what's in store. So, I mean, in that regard, I mean, what else can you teach us about season 4? I'm thinking particularly about Sabine and the Mandalorians, because what a cool arc that was. Sabine getting to use the Darksaber last season, uniting, you know, winning her family over to the Rebel cause. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, she's got a great arc. One kind of unexpected when we put a Mandalorian in the show. I never really dreamed that we would be doing all the things with the rest of the Mandalorian that we had. And it just kind of grew organically as we were telling the story and figuring out who she was. And I think the biggest thing is that we made some promises about, you know, what her origin was, and we made some suggestions. She'd done something terrible, that she had been separated from her family, that she'd been ostracized from Andor, and so it was important to deal with those things. Sabine's character really emerges to the point where she's pretty much almost as big a lead as Ezra in a lot of ways, which I think is really strong. That you have these 2 kids, and Simon Kinberg always used to say in the Rebels, at its heart, should always be a story about family. And that's something that, you know, as I work through it, you know, talk time, we always just get back to that core. And it's really about these 2 parents in a lot of ways. You know, Hera and Kanan kind of acting as their mother and father. And it's clear that they do that for Ezra. But they've also done it for Sabine in a very big way. And it just speaks to family. And a lot of people now, they don't have traditional families. You know, so family is kind of where you find the people who care about you the most and love you the most and stick by you when everything else is falling apart. And that's one of the big themes coming out of this, for these 2 younger characters in Sabine and Ezra. They experience that step they have to take on season 4 where they do things more on their own with their own agency and hopefully for the good of everybody else.
And speaking of family, I am so excited about this character who's standing next to Sabine in this image. If you don't recognize her, Yeah.
Yeah, that's Bo-Katan from Clone Wars. So, Katie Sackhoff portrays her, and Katie came back and played her for this episode. You know, she never had a lot of dialogue in Clone Wars. I always felt bad, so she actually had a lot more to do, and you get a better sense of what that character's been going through. In Rebel, I've been able to wrap up a lot of things that I was thinking in Clone Wars that I never got to do. And so there was kind of an unfinished story of what happens when she rebels against Maul and his Mandalorian loyalists. And we get a little sense of that, a little sense of what she thinks of her sister, who was once the Duchess of Mandalore, ruling everyone. So it's kind of an important piece for Mandalore and what was going on there, and how Sabine ties that, and what she thinks of Sabine, which is kind of an interesting thing.
So cool. Well, of course, I mean, we knew we were going to mention this, but guys, I got to ask you, hot callus. How did it get started? Who first came up with the term hot callus? How was it built? How does it continue?
Oh boy.
I don't understand it myself. Honestly, the crew was talking about it before anything ever got out. And members of the actual production team, like, we're all taking note of Callus's physical change from a bad guy to a good guy. And saying how the hair was a much better decision, and the colors were better for him. And I was like, okay, I didn't mean this is incredible. And I was like, all right. But it just gained a momentum that I've never seen. And then this hot house thing started happening once it was released in the trailer. And then the crew was like, see? And it was like this unity between the outside world and the crew. And it's just, I don't try to stop it. I just don't fully understand. I'm talking to David about it. You know, he loves it, thinks we're all nuts. I kind of agree. I mean, we've had a great time with it. You have to see how he shows up, but we used to mix different music on it with Cal to show up. So instead of Star Wars, he can have a little beat rhythm happening. This is an end to show the crew because I don't want to make fun of it, but I guess it's a real thing. It's like Cal's makeover. We should do a Star Wars edition.
I think it almost is that one lock of hair that was just like, hanging loose from his forehead at season 3 finale.
It's just like a real progression, yeah. When he got beat up and knocked that hair loose, and it was like, no, good guy. Kind of you got that.
No.
That's the secret.
Right, Ezra's hair is getting shorter. Is that?
Yeah, it's kind of inverse of Callus, and yeah. Too bad.
But we have a clip of hot callus right now. I'm going to show you guys. Roll it.
You're in command of those now. Take care of her. I will launch her back.
To think all the times I chased this ship, all the trouble it gave me, and now I'm commanded it. You? She was talking to me. I've commanded Star Destroyers. Well, I'd say you answered your own question there.
I love it. Just these character beats that you create are just amazing. I mean, just see like Rex interacted with this guy who's been chasing the rebels this whole time, and now he's suddenly a good guy.
They don't know how to, in turn, but it's like they get more time than they know that.
So we've gone to a bad guy we've gone from a bad guy who's been redeemed to now just an irredeemably bad guy. Tell us what. The Grand Admiral himself.
right there. Writer price
Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Why don't you stand up so we can see for yeah. What do you expect from Thrawn this season?
Well, Thrawn did really well last year. He pretty much, he's right in his insertion and he had a victory at the end of the season. Like, the rebels escaped, not because of his fault. But he did tremendous damage to them. So he actually averted a major attack on the fall. And his kind of he just does everything to the greatest damage he can. So he didn't do small victories. He wants to learn about the enemy, dissect them, know other ways to crush them. Now to make your plan happen, you need people that can actually fulfill it, which sometimes is a struggle with the Empire. Thrawn is involved in a couple of tactical arguments with the Empire itself on how to fight their war overall. And often it's the case when you have emperors and whatnot, they know how to run wars, but the generals actually know better. And so there is a little bit of a case going on in season 4 where Thrawn has an idea tactically about what type of weapons and hardware they should be producing to win a war against the rebellion. Now it's assess what their threat is. But it's hard to convince a lot of people given that the Empire creates mass numbers. The Empire is overwhelmed with sheer numbers. Where the rebellion has smaller numbers but intense loyalty and frankly better shields. So it all comes into play. And in the mix, he's trying to maneuver all these pieces, of which Price is one. And Price, she in some ways is a bit of a maniac because of her quest for power. And, so she's a bit of an unpredictable, because she brought Thrawn in. And so Thrawn and Price are a little bit tied this season, and they can't underestimate each other as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how that villainy plays out. But he's pretty satisfied with crushing the rebellion, and he's not very sure now what their next move is, because he feels like his corner of the galaxy has been taken care of and the rebels are broken, which is true to a large extent.
Wow. Well, who here read Timothy Zahn's book, Thrawn, that came out earlier this year? Right. Gave so much cool, canon backstory to the character, really showed his rise through the Imperial ranks, and kind of set the stage, I think, for some of these internal squabbles with High Command and everything that you're talking about, that he's thinking about, we need to do something different to actually win this war. So I'm just curious, was there anything else that you drew upon, from that book, or just from Timothy Zahn in general, for the character this season?
Thrawn, you can't. Obviously, we've had to have Tim involved because it's his character, as far as I see it, and I wanted to be very careful when we're using it that we use Thrawn in a way that's true to what Tim did originally. And I think every Star Wars fan that was around at the time remembers when those book stands came out and there's Heir to the Empire, and you're like, what? There's more? Finally, this is awesome. And we all read it. And Thrawn just really struck you because he's so unique. He wasn't like any Imperial officer that came before, because he was good. And so, he got stuff done. The artistic element of it all was really interesting. The fact that we had a character that, painted and did art in Sabine, and that we had a villain that studies it also, was like, wow, that's kind of a good parallel to have. So, I would say that it's more we try to keep Tim informed about what we're doing, so he knows when he's going to do his stuff, and we talk about where Thrawn is at and where he goes, without trying to ruin it for him. So
well, now we're going to see a clip of Thrawn in his element. Roll it.
Sir, we're detecting several craft coming out of hyperspace.
All right, let's make this
Assuming we get past this blockade.
They might have numbers, but we've got skill.
That last part goes double for me.
Yes, Chopper, triple for you. Lock S-foils in attack position. Fighter group, stay with your wingmen and punch a hole in their defenses. We have to get the Y-wings through.
So the rebels have come at last.
24 ships, Grand Admiral. Mixed group of fighters and bombers.
Their target will be our factory and the fuel depot in the capital. Alert all commands. Deploy the fleet in defensive formation and launch fighters. Commander, the rebels must not reach the planet's surface.
I'll make sure of it, sir.
Here we go. Attack speed!
Oh my god, I'm geeking out so much right now. That is amazing. First appearance of X-Wings, Hera, in an X-Wing cockpit?
Yeah.
Whoa!
That was cool.
I have no words.
Oh my gosh. Well, so we can expect a lot from Hera this season, and like, if you guys thought that was awesome, like this next image, like, prepare to lose it, because... We've been waiting for this the past 3
For them
seasons.
to touch foreheads? You've been waiting for them to touch.
At the very least. It's something. Give us this. Hera, what's going on here, and what can we expect from this?
Well,
Sorry, did I just call you Hera? Vanessa. See, it's like,
I know what you
Vanessa.
meant.
Like, this is how like immersed in this world I am.
Sometimes I call him Ezra. I don't know what happens.
Vanessa.
Yes, well, as we know, they have always shared a special affection for one another, and the stakes have been so high with lives, you know, and so much danger around them. They've not really had a chance to pursue things, and so, you know, we'll have to see together. Much like I was just shocked by what I just saw, I never can predict what will ultimately, you know, be the animated image, but they are obviously very close, and I'm excited to see what happens with you guys as the season airs. And I hope that we get to see some exciting moments for them. So, we'll experience it together.
Seriously, that is so exciting. And then getting in the cockpit of an X-Wing, Vanessa, I mean, what was that like for you to record that bit of dialogue, you know, as Hera? Like, she's part of the squadron now?
I can't even explain. I have to somewhat disassociate while I'm working because I'm such a Star Wars fan. And just seeing that, I was thinking back to the first film, and I can't even imagine as a small child that I would ever be in an X-Wing like that, or, you know, be playing that character. It's really... When I said I have no words, I literally have no words, especially with the gear that she has on as well, to show sort of the journey from season 1 to that moment in an X-Wing is just epic. So it's an honor, yeah.
Well, it's so cool. And now, we've got another exclusive clip, this time of Kanan and Hera.
Woo!
Roll it.
Oh boy.
Zeb should be here soon. You ready? I should be able to just drop the hyperdrive in and run power to it.
This ship is old. There's no guarantee the Defender's hyperdrive will even work in this thing, never mind the Imperial blockade.
Getting this TIE Defender data to the Rebellion is vital.
When are you going to feel you've done enough for this rebellion?
I guess when the Empire is overthrown and people are free to live their lives the way they want again.
And when that time comes, how do you want to live your life?
I don't know. Guess I never really thought about it.
So I guess you really never thought about us.
Kanan, we've talked about that before.
Have we?
You know how I feel.
Do I?
To be continued.
I knew that would be funny because they all want that. So to take it away is particularly satisfying. We call him Ryder Killjoy in that moment. Clancy comes right through. I was like, Clancy, you're gonna yell and interrupt this moment. He's like, oh yeah.
So close, and yet so far. All right. Well, in terms of other things that you've teased, of course, we mentioned briefly earlier the Lothal wolves. We've seen some of this on Twitter. We've seen this in the first trailer that was released a few months ago. Dave, I'm just curious, like, how did this whole thing come about? We've never really seen anything like these wolves before in Star Wars. What are they, and what was the inspiration behind them?
I like wolves. And I make a Star Wars show. It's like two things that I think are cool, and I put them together. It's an age-old formula, like chocolate and peanut butter. And the wolf thing for me is, I've danced around it for a long time, and I've tried to figure out, is there a way they fit in? I like wolves. People ask me, why do I like wolves? I've tracked it back to a film called Never Cry Wolf, based on the book by Farley Moat and directed by Carol Ballard. And that movie made a huge impression on me as a kid because it made me look at this animal as kind of more as a whole thing. And the book really gets into your fears about something and your perception of something versus the reality of it. I've actually been to the Thelon Sanctuary in the Northwest Territories of Canada and on a trek out where wolves are to kind of study them in their natural habitat very respectfully. They are something in our culture that's seen as both a villain, but they are kind of a hero also of the natural order. They keep things in balance. And as I would go over these things, and if you read a lot of mythology that has wolves, some people see them as evil and some people see them as guides. And that's very much like the Force to me. There's this symbolic nature of some animals that do both. And I thought, well, that works for me because it's with the Force and you could see it. It's really what you bring to it makes it a negative or a positive, but the wolf is just constant with what it is. And nature is that way. And the Force is that way. If you bring selfishness to the Force, it becomes evil on the dark side. If you bring selflessness, it is the light side. But you have to own your part of it because you are choosing to do something with it. And so I thought these themes would play well just when you see the image of a wolf, that in people there's already a conflict. And what do you see when you see it? And so I thought that I could use that. And we'd been talking about Lothal wolves since season 1 internally. And would they appear? And they had many different kind of versions that we might do. And then finally we landed on this one, and that went through a couple iterations until we really got it. But at the end of the day, I guess the best way for something you've experienced is that they're very similar in nature to what Bendu is. Which Bendu is kind of like the middle way, and he is the Attalon speaking to them through the Force in a way. And so these wolves are a nature element of the Force of Lothal, which is under tremendous persecution by evil. So that's a little bit of insight into them.
And Taylor, it looks like Ezra is going to have a special connection to these wolves. What can you tease about that at all? Because we've seen Ezra sort of commune with animals in the past. You know, the purgles, the space whales.
Yeah, that's been a big part of Ezra's journey. And we were talking about this yesterday. We went to dinner and we were talking about like the next season and everything. And it's been really cool because there are parts of the Force that are like, you can change someone's mind, you can force push people, and all these things. But one of the coolest parts about the Force, I think, is that the ability to kind of connect with the world around us. And I think that transcends any sort of Jedi or anything else that applies to everyone, the ability to kind of tap into the empathy of other things, other living things. So we see that with the Loth cats, the purgles, the bats, now Loth wolves. Ezra has that ability that is really cool, and we'll see it more through season 4 with the wolves and where it goes and how that relationship grows, which has been really cool. I think one of the cooler parts to Ezra.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, to think that this is the final season.
I'm always so scared anytime I say anything.
It was great.
You've learned well.
You've learned very well. No, I mean, that was phenomenal. And I mean, just to see the way that, you know, Ezra has grown and the way that you've grown as well in inhabiting this character, being this amazing voice actor for this character, it's pretty awesome. And, you know, it's because, you know, it's really a time for reflection since this is the end of the series. This is season 4, the final run of episodes. Dave, when you look back on it, I mean, what was your hope for the show, and how has that been fulfilled?
I mean, this show was a big change. You know, from I'd been working. Clone Wars was, I think, 8 years of my life at a certain point. It was a big transition for all of us that had been at Lucasfilm, and you know, to go in this new direction. So it was an important moment, not just, I think, for the story of Star Wars, but for our company as a whole, to kind of say that we're going to continue making this stuff. We're going to make it high quality. You know, we're going to try to do all the things that George taught us to do, but now we have to do it without him. And that's a very daunting task, but he had prepared us well. So, you know, in one way, it's like, I take very seriously that we have to continue this legacy that's very important to everyone. It's very important to everybody who works at Lucasfilm. But also, I wanted Rebels to stand on its own, that if you've never seen anything else that's a part of Star Wars, you would enjoy this story. And this story, if you watch from first season, the first episode makes certain promises about what this kid's journey is going to be, what he's going to do, and so we have to fulfill that story by the end. It does not exist to set up one of the movies. It does not exist to tie directly into one of the movies. If none of the other movies existed, this story should work as a mythology. It's nice that it touches other things and that there are crossovers. That's a deeper level, which is fine. You know, but if you read The Hobbit, you don't need to read Lord of the Rings necessarily, or vice versa. You know, I would recommend reading all of it, but you know, the point of it is just having a story that works and that gives you something out of it, not a lesson, but just a journey, I guess. And I feel very good about it. I feel we've accomplished it. I'm still working on it, but now having the end, and I've shot the end, you know, I like it. I guess so. And I'm able to work on episodes leading up to the end so I can make things better than they've been. It's much more tied together than anything we've done in animation before. The first couple episodes tie off certain threads that we had to, and then we deal pretty much from the 5th episode to the end with Ezra and what's going to happen and everything that goes down. So, but it's almost feels like a day-to-day basis or a continuous thing where each episode really plays into the next. I mean, they work a story still, but you feel the flow of it and the connection. So I like it. Very few people know the actual total ending of the thing. So if you think I give you guys a hard time, even on the crew, only a handful of people actually know how the story ends in its final form. They don't. And like, so some shots are just being animated by my animation supervisor, Keith, in-house. Will be rendered by Joel, so I know only 2 people have seen certain things. Because trying to keep things secret, you know, it's not to be mean or anything like that. It's just, I even want people on my crew to be able to sit down in a theater and enjoy the outcome of these characters' story, having never seen it, so that they can hopefully be like, wow, this is accomplished. And because that's what we're all after. Like, spoilers, I understand going after them. I'm a fan. I mean, it's a temptation to go after that spoiler, but you really want to experience it in the moment, because there's really nothing better, especially if you can be in a room full of people and experience a moment like that and share a moment like when I was a kid and you see A New Hope and Obi-Wan says, you know, use the Force. The whole theater went nuts because nobody knew that guy could still talk. And the whole theater screamed and people stood up and cheered. And it's like, we need a bit more of that feeling these days where people like, if we stick together, we can do this. And we don't need to be afraid. And that's like, Luke, you don't need to be afraid. Believe that despite this being an insurmountable task, you can do it. And so that's what the story of Star Wars is about, this selfless journey. So hopefully we get that there.
As we approach the end, you know, Vanessa and Taylor, I mean, what kind of impact has Star Wars had on your lives?
Well, that's a tough one. This has been an amazing journey, all of it. We started, I was so young, I remember, like, we've been doing this for so long, and to grow, like, it's informed my life, because there's so many parallels with Star Wars and just growing up, you know, and trying to become the person you want to be or aspire to be. There are a lot of lessons that are really cool, and we can all relate to characters in this, so there are times that certain lessons and themes that have been in the show have applied to like my everyday life, and that's just been crazy. But it's also been cool to connect with so many people in so many different places. Star Wars is so universal that it's amazing, and it's the coolest fans, the most passionate fans, and it's been a fantastic journey. I'm very fortunate and grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah, I echo that. It was such a private thing. It was such a sacred thing for me by myself. I grew up as an only child and saw all of the films and, you know, waited in line for each film as it came out. You know, the first one just blew me away. And so to come into this franchise and connect with people on social media, I've made friends for life. I mean, the hashtag Star Wars family is not a myth, it's a reality. I mean, I'm sitting here, I look out, I see people from Michigan that I met yesterday, I see the 416. We're signing autographs 2 to 7 today if you guys want to come and say hi. It's the most special thing to feel like you've known someone your whole life, because we understand this universe and everything that is so universal and connects us, and that we can do anything, and that we don't need to be afraid, and that we can have hope all together. It's not, those are not just words, it's actual fact, and you can feel it in your heart. And I'm deeply grateful to have met you guys and connected with you, and I look forward to lots of that in the future. So thank you for all that you do and have done.
All right, so Dave, we're about to watch something else right now.
Yes.
What can you tell us?
This is a big panel. You're getting a lot, because I do love Canada. It's a great place. And you have a great city. You can totally win the Stanley Cup when Sydney retires. No, if you do, this place will go bananas. I can't even picture it. I was standing outside your rink going, oh my gosh, this place is going to go insane if they win. So, and I've been here since I was a kid. My dad and I would come up here with my brother. I was at the Hockey Hall of Fame when it used to be down on the waterfront, which was interesting when I was there. And I was here, the first year was open in '93. My brother and father are huge rail enthusiasts. And so that's why I ride the GO train around, because they loved it and took pictures of it. And so it makes me think of those guys. You know, it's a great place, Toronto. And you're lucky, I think, when you live in the States and you can go to someplace out here. So, all that being said, I brought a lot. So, we're going to premiere the trailer, the official trailer for season 4 here. So, let's look at that.
All right, let's take a look.
What's the status of the Imperial occupation?
Mandalore's under complete lockdown. War's raging.
It's time for you to prove your loyalty, not just to your family, but to all of Mandalore.
If you continue to allow this war to be fought on the Empire's terms, you are going to lose.
We are not ready for open war.
What about Lothal? We promised my people support.
Everyone, Mon Mothma's Ares. Go do something that might actually matter.
Your TIE Defender is at risk. Krennic has been quite persuasive about his own project. Stardust.
What about the blockade and Admiral Thrawn?
Are you confident your ship can get in and out undetected?
We don't call it the Ghost for nothing.
Got him!
Capture Captain Singular.
It will be done.
Ezra, it's not whether or not we fight.
It's how we choose to fight that matters. I know, Kanan. Maybe we're choosing the wrong way.
When are you going to feel you've done enough for this rebellion?
I guess I never really thought about it.
So I guess you really never thought about us.
And this!
Oh, I'm moving.
We will not stand down. We will not be broken by fear. We are strong, united by our courage. Now is our time.
I wish I could see you.
You could always see me.
All the paths are coming together, right?
I'm just not sure if we're going to like where they lead.
By the way, I'm the author of Star Wars Made Easy, which you can pick up now. And Dave, why don't you get in a little plug? When does season 4 premiere?
I don't know. When does it?
October 16th.
I can't remember. October 16th, yeah. I'm too busy making it. I don't know that kind of stuff. I just show, oh, that's on TV now. So, yeah, what is
Yes,
it?
we'll all live tweet together, right? We'll experience it together. Cool.
It's so awesome. And I just love that these trailers, all these years, going back to Clone Wars, have been edited by Kevin Yost, who's done such an incredible job, each one better than the last. But that is not the end. Because Dave, we've got something else to show these guys, right?
Yes, we do.
Set it up.
Because originally at Celebration, I don't know if you got there, but we showed the first episode of season 4. And the problem there is it's a 2-parter. So I didn't have the second part done. But now I do. So you guys get to watch them both. The first 2 episodes of season 4. And we're going to watch it with you. Because you guys have maybe seen it once. So it's enjoyable. You should watch it again. So
Yeah, and then let's all watch it again on October 16th, okay?
Exactly.